Before this story begins, understand this truth. Allah already knew how it would end. Long before the throne, long before the crown, long before the blood, a man once stood before millions, flesh and breath like everyone else, and declared, "I am your God." He ruled through fear. He fed the earth with children's blood. He mocked every warning sent to save him. Signs came. Mercy followed. Still he laughed. And when death finally reached him, not in a palace, not on a throne, but beneath collapsing water, the sea did not hesitate. This is not ancient history. It is a preserved judgment. This is a warning. Listen carefully. Chapter 1. The throne built on blood. Egypt did not merely fear Pharaoh. Egypt worshipped him. His name was spoken with bowed heads. His image carved into stone. His presence treated as divine. When Pharaoh spoke, law was born. When he inhaled, commands were prepared. When he exhaled in anger, people vanished. He ruled by division, not justice, not mercy. He split humanity like livestock. Masters above, slaves beneath. The Bani Israel were buried under his empire. Their backs bent beneath stone and sun. Their cries drowned by the sound of whips. Their lives measured only by how much they could build and how easily they could be broken. Children were not born free. They were born owned. Then Pharaoh dreamed, a vision that shook his false divinity, a flame rising from Bani Israel, climbing, spreading, until it reached his crown. For the first time, fear entered a god's heart. And fear does not soften tyrants. It sharpens them. Pharaoh answered the dream with blood. Doors were kicked open in the night. Infants were torn from their mothers' arms. Screams echoed through homes already empty of hope. The Nile, once a symbol of life, turned into a grave. Its waters darkened with the blood of the innocent. Pharaoh believed this was control, that destiny could be hunted, that the future could be drowned. He believed killing the child would save the throne. He never stopped to ask, who writes destiny, or why fate always walks calmly toward those who run from it. Chapter 2. The child the river obeyed. In a silent home, a mother held her newborn son. Every creak of the floor, every shadow on the wall, told her that soldiers were near. Fear gripped her heart, but faith gripped her soul even tighter. Then Allah spoke, not with thunder, not with fire, not with visible force, but with absolute certainty. Cast him into the river. The water should have drowned him. It should have ended his life before it began. But creation bows only to Allah. Not kings, not tyrants, not armies. The river took him, dark, cold, merciless. Yet it obeyed Allah. It carried Musa, a safely through danger, through currents that should have swallowed him, directly into the arms of Pharaoh's own wife. The enemy had unknowingly nurtured the instrument of his own destruction. Pharaoh, who killed children without a thought, fed him. Pharaoh, who ruled through fear, trained him. Pharaoh, who knew no mercy, protected him. And all the while, the tyrant slept peacefully, oblivious, blind, completely unaware that judgment was growing right beside him. Chapter 3. When truth entered the palace. Years passed. Musa returned, not with an army, but with a message. Let my people go. Pharaoh laughed. How does a god answer to a man? Allah answered instead. A staff became a serpent. Light burst from Musa's hand. Pharaoh panicked. He gathered magicians, masters of illusion. But illusion shattered. Truth swallowed deception. The magicians fell to the ground, believing in Allah. Pharaoh's pride cracked. And when pride cracks, it bleeds violence. He tortured believers. He denied every sign. Each warning made him harder. Allah does not rush punishment, but when it comes, it does not miss. Chapter 4. The night God walked with slaves. Darkness swallowed Egypt. The kind of darkness that presses against walls, seeps into corners, and silences even the whispers of hope. The air was thick with the stench of fear. Plagues had come and gone, each one a hammer striking the pride of Pharaoh. The land had trembled under locusts that devoured crops, boils that disfigured flesh, darkness that shrouded the day and night. Pharaoh begged. He swore false promises with his tongue as sharp as knives. He lied to himself, to his people, even to the sky. But Allah's decree is not delayed by false words, nor shaken by arrogance. Finally, after years of oppression, years of cruelty, years of ignoring every warning, Allah commanded Musa, lead my servants out of Egypt now, at night, under a sky devoid of stars. The Bani Israel moved like shadows. Silent, fearful, hopeful, their hearts beating with a rhythm that was part terror, part anticipation. Chains fell from their wrists. Whips no longer cracked. For the first time in generations, they were free. But Pharaoh's heart could not let go. He did not chase to save Egypt. He did not chase to protect his people. He chased to protect his ego. An army surged behind him, their torches slicing through the night like swords. Their horses neighed. Their armor clanked. The sound of human arrogance echoing over the quiet, trembling land. Ahead, the sea stretched like a dark wall. Behind them, death lurked, soldiers, whips, and the weight of tyranny. The people screamed. Mothers cried. Children sobbed. Fear was a tidal wave threatening to consume them. But Musa, A.S., did not scream. He did not panic. He did not falter. "My Lord is with me," he whispered. The words were calm, unwavering. A light in the storm. A lifeline for hearts ready to collapse. And then it happened. The impossible. The sea split. Walls of water rose like judgment incarnate, towering over Pharaoh's army. Dark, blue, and endless, yet carved neatly by the will of Allah. A path of dry earth appeared in the middle. A path of salvation. Bani Israel crossed. Slowly, trembling, but alive. Behind them, Pharaoh's army surged forward. Blind in arrogance. Certain in their victory. Arrogance does not recognize danger. Until it closes in. The water walls waited like predators. Silent. Patient. And when Pharaoh stepped onto the path, he did not see the trap. He did not see the end. All he saw was the continuation of his power, the illusion of control, the certainty of his own godhood. The night was still. The air was heavy. And the sea waited for the moment when arrogance would finally drown. Chapter 5. A God who could not breathe. The sea waited. Silent. Patient. Its walls of water loomed like towering sentinels, cold and unyielding. And then, with the arrogance of a man who thought himself eternal, Pharaoh stepped forward. Every footfall echoed across the trembling earth. Every breath was arrogance. Every heartbeat a drum of defiance. He thought himself untouchable. He thought the gods of men could challenge him. He thought destiny would bend before his crown. But Allah had written the end long before Pharaoh ever drew breath. Then the sea collapsed. It was not sudden. It was not chaotic. It was deliberate. Slow at first, a creeping sense of inevitability. Then merciless, crushing, unstoppable. Water surged forward, devouring the path he had walked with arrogance. Armor dragged Pharaoh down. His golden crown twisted beneath the weight of waves. His chariot sank into the cold abyss. For the first time in his life, he gasped, not for command, not for glory, not for dominion, but for air. Water filled the lungs of a man who had claimed eternity. The life he had stolen from others now swallowed him. The cries of the innocent, the screams of the oppressed, the silent prayers of those he had murdered, all seemed to echo through the rising tide, mocking him, judging him. In terror, finally, he believed. He begged. He pleaded. He acknowledged the power he had denied for decades. But belief at death is too late. Faith is not words spoken when the final breath is forced into a drowning chest. Faith is obedience, courage, and recognition before the consequences arrive. Allah's response came, not as thunder, not as fire, but as truth distilled into one piercing moment. Now, the sea became his grave. Its waters closed with an unrelenting finality. And yet, Allah preserved his body, so that generations yet unborn would see and know the fate of arrogance. A God who drowned, a king who begged, a tyrant whose ego could not escape judgment. And so, the lesson was sealed. For all time. Every empire that thinks itself untouchable. Every heart that believes it can outrun destiny. Every soul that mocks the signs of the Creator. The river had obeyed Allah. The ocean had obeyed Allah. And now, justice had obeyed Allah too. Pharaoh was gone. His power vanished. His kingdom broken. But the warning remained, etched in history, etched in the hearts of those who dared to reflect. The arrogance of men, no matter how grand, can never escape the command of Allah. Even a God can drown. Final warning, this story is still happening. Pharaoh died, but arrogance survived. It lives in power, in pride, in hearts that forget Allah. This is Twisted Chapter, where history does not end, it waits in the shadows. It whispers in the silence. and it warns those who dare to listen. If this story shook you good, let that unease crawl under your skin, for it is a reminder that the world is not as safe as it seems. Like, subscribe, and remember, time forgets, but the reckoning never. Judgment comes for all, the proud, the fearful, the innocent, the guilty. No one escapes. No one. And when the echoes fade, know that what is written will always find you.